Welcome to the Silent Code, Decoding Body Language for Mastery in Life and Relationships, written and published by Mindful Literary. Imagine stepping into a room and understanding what everyone is saying, without hearing a single word. Body language is the universal script we all write, but rarely learn to read. It's in the way we gesture, the way we stand, even in the flicker of an eye or the tilt of a head. Every movement tells a story, and those who can decode this silent language hold the keys to deeper connections, greater influence, and remarkable self-awareness. In this audiobook, we'll uncover the hidden power of body language, how it shapes our relationships, commands respect, and reveals truths we often overlook. Whether you're navigating the dynamics of a workplace, building trust in personal relationships, or simply seeking to understand yourself better, this journey will transform how you see and interact with the world. So get comfortable, open your mind, and prepare to master the silent code. Let's begin. Introduction: the language we all speak but rarely understand. The universal power of body language and its influence on our daily lives. Body language is an essential part of how we connect and communicate with each other. Every day, we unconsciously send and receive signals through our posture, facial expressions, and gestures. These nonverbal cues can convey emotions, attitudes, and intentions more powerfully than words alone. For instance, the simple act of crossing your arms can indicate defensiveness or discomfort, while maintaining eye contact often signals confidence and engagement. It became clear to me that being aware of body language, both our own and that of others, can enhance our interactions significantly. When I started paying attention to these nonverbal signals, I noticed that my conversations transformed. People seemed more open and responsive, understanding my unspoken messages, which enriched my relationships both personally and professionally. Consider a time when you might have had an interaction where words alone didn't quite capture the full picture. Perhaps you met someone new at a gathering, and even though they spoke warmly, their stiff posture and lack of eye contact made you wonder if they were truly interested in engaging. Or think about those moments when you've had a heated discussion. The tension is palpable, and without realizing it, both parties display defensive gestures. I remember a particular situation at work where a colleague and I had conflicting ideas during a meeting. While we verbally debated, it was the body language that painted the more vivid picture. Leaning back with arms crossed, my colleague seemed closed off, while I leaned in, eager to connect. Observing this dynamic allowed me to adjust my approach, softening my posture to bridge the gap, and we eventually found common ground. One practical tip is to become mindful of your own body language. Practice standing tall, maintaining an open posture, and using gestures to emphasize your points when speaking. Also, observe the body language of others. Notice how slight shifts in their demeanor can reveal their feelings and reactions. This awareness will help you navigate conversations more effectively, as you'll be able to respond not just to what people say, but to how they truly feel. By consciously engaging with body language, you can foster deeper connections and enhance your communication in every aspect of your life. Why understanding body language is key to connecting with others and mastering social dynamics. Body language plays a vital role in how we connect with others. Often, it speaks volumes without a single word being uttered. I remember the time I had a crucial job interview. Sitting across from the interviewer, I noticed how their posture shifted as I spoke. When I expressed enthusiasm, they leaned forward, nodding slightly. This nonverbal feedback immediately made me feel more at ease and encouraged me to open up. The dynamics of our interaction changed, allowing me to convey my passion authentically. Understanding these physical cues can build an invisible bridge between individuals, fostering a sense of rapport that verbal communication alone often fails to achieve. Recognizing nonverbal signs doesn't just improve our interactions, it can significantly enhance our relationships. I've found that understanding even the subtlest cues can alter the course of a conversation. For instance, when friends gather, a simple shift in eye contact can tell you if someone is engaged or disinterested. Noticing these small details helps us respond more empathetically. When a colleague seemed hesitant in a meeting, I picked up on their crossed arms and averted gaze. This awareness allowed me to address their concerns directly, transforming a potentially awkward situation into a constructive dialogue. These insights often dictate the outcomes of our social exchanges. When we become attuned to the emotions and intentions hidden in body language, we enhance our ability to connect meaningfully. Being aware of body language can be a game changer in both personal and social settings. As you engage with others, pay attention not just to what they say, but how they say it. A smile can mean sincerity, while fidgeting might convey anxiety. By observing these cues, you can adapt your approach, creating an environment conducive to openness. Each interaction offers a chance to practice this skill. Remember, the art of connection goes beyond words. It lies in the unspoken gestures, the gentle nods, and the shared looks that bind us together. The purpose of this book, to empower readers with practical skills to decode and use body language for success. As I embarked on my journey of understanding body language, I discovered just how essential it is for effective communication. This book aims to illuminate the myriad ways nonverbal cues impact our interactions, providing you with the tools to decode these signals deftly. You can expect to learn not only how to read others' body language, but also how to project confidence through your own. We will explore topics such as posture, gestures, facial expressions, and eye contact, all of which play pivotal roles in conveying our emotions and intentions. Each chapter builds on practical experiences and insights that can transform how you engage in both personal and professional contexts. You'll learn techniques to interpret subtle signs and apply those insights to foster stronger relationships and achieve your goals. The beauty of this knowledge is that it is not just meant for observation. It encourages proactive engagement. Applying what you learn here means stepping into your interactions with intention and awareness. Whether in a job interview, a social gathering, or a presentation, understanding body language can be your secret weapon. By implementing the concepts and exercises provided throughout this book, you can improve your ability to connect with others, resolve conflicts, and influence outcomes. Think of each lesson as a new habit to integrate into your daily life. As you practice, and even make mistakes, you'll grow more adept at recognizing and using body language to propel your success. Remember, mastery comes not just from knowledge, but from practice, observation, and adaptation of these fundamental skills. Make it a habit to observe body language in real time. When you engage in daily conversations, take note of how people react to your gestures and expressions as well as their own. This real-world practice enriches your understanding and accelerates your learning. The journey to mastering body language is ongoing, and the more you engage with it, the more you will uncover its powerful influence in all facets of life. Chapter 1. The Science Behind Silent Communication. The Evolution of Nonverbal Communication. Tracing the historical roots of body language takes us back to our earliest ancestors. Many researchers suggest that even before the development of spoken language, humans relied heavily on nonverbal signals to communicate their emotions and intentions. Imagine early humans living in tight-knit groups where survival depended on understanding one another without words. A glance, a smile, or even a frown were crucial in conveying danger or the readiness to cooperate. Body language likely played a pivotal role in forming social bonds, enabling collaboration for hunting or gathering and establishing hierarchies in societies. Just as wild animals communicate through gestures and movements, our ancestors must have developed similar habits, using their bodies to express feelings and establish connections long before language became sophisticated. Nonverbal cues have been pivotal in survival and social bonding throughout human history. These cues include facial expressions, hand movements, and posture, which serve as vital signals about a person's emotional state and intentions. For instance, a raised eyebrow could indicate suspicion, while open arms might signal welcome and safety. In close communities, understanding these subtle signals not only strengthened relationships, but also enhanced overall survival. By picking up on nonverbal signals, early humans could form alliances and avoid conflicts, fostering a sense of unity that was essential for group living. I've often noticed how a simple gesture can create an instant connection with someone, transcending language barriers and showcasing our innate ability to communicate beyond words. Fostering this awareness can improve our interactions today, enhancing empathy and connection in our increasingly complex social world. Whenever you engage with others, pay close attention to their body language. You might find it reveals as much, if not more, than their words. Understanding the brain-body connection. Our brains are remarkable processors of information, constantly interpreting the world around us, often without us even realizing it. When we interact with others, much of what transpires goes beyond spoken words. It is the subtle dance of nonverbal signals, our facial expressions, posture, and even the space we occupy that conveys emotions and intentions. The brain receives these signals rapidly, interpreting them and triggering physiological responses almost instantaneously. For example, a warm smile might release a surge of oxytocin, the love hormone, within us, making us feel more connected. Simultaneously, in response to an angry glare, our bodies might instinctually tense up as our nervous system prepares for a potential threat. These physiological responses are our brain's way of processing nonverbal cues, acting like a complex, interwoven tapestry of emotions and reactions that guide our interactions and behaviors. Diving into the neuroscience behind our instinctual body language reveals a fascinating landscape. Our bodies and minds are closely entwined, sharing a direct line of communication. When I sense fear, for instance, it's not merely a mental thought, but a physical response, a racing heart, shallow breathing, and a cascade of adrenaline flooding my system. This connection stems from ancient survival mechanisms hardwired into our brains. The amygdala, often dubbed the emotional brain, kicks into gear when it perceives nonverbal signals that imply danger. This prehistoric part of our brains helps us react before we even have the chance to think. Understanding these instinctual responses not only illuminates our social behavior, but also offers a valuable lens through which we can examine our personal interactions. Our reactions can often be traced back to deep-seated evolutionary needs, revealing that even the smallest nonverbal signals can have profound impacts on our emotional state. Increasing awareness of our own body language, as well as that of others, can significantly enhance our communication skills. Observing how our own physiological responses correlate to the nonverbal signals we encounter allows us to navigate social situations more effectively. For example, if someone approaches with crossed arms and minimal eye contact, we may instinctively sense disinterest or defensiveness. Recognizing this can help us adjust our approach, fostering a more open environment for dialogue. Similarly, being conscious of our own body language can convey confidence and reliability, making our interactions more impactful. The next time you engage in conversation, take a moment to note the unspoken cues in the atmosphere and your own body. You'll likely discover a deeper connection to both yourself and those around you. Why nonverbal communication is more powerful than words. Studies have consistently shown that nonverbal cues often carry more weight than the words we speak. I remember reading about an experiment where researchers had participants watch videos of people speaking in a foreign language. Despite not understanding the words, viewers could still gauge the emotions of the speakers based purely on body language, facial expressions, and gestures. This suggests that our brains are wired to pick up on nonverbal signals much more readily than on the verbal content itself. In many cases, it's estimated that a staggering 93% of communication effectiveness comes from nonverbal cues. The implication is profound. What we don't say often speaks louder than our spoken words. Scientists have pointed out that nonverbal communication can serve as a reliable indicator of our true feelings, even when we try to mask them with language. There have been momentous occasions in my life when words simply weren't enough. I recall a particular instance when a close friend was grieving the loss of a loved one. No words of comfort could erase the pain in their eyes or the heaviness in their stance. Instead, it was my presence, a simple hug, and the way I held their arm that communicated support and empathy. In that moment, my body language conveyed what my words couldn't. It signaled understanding and compassion in a way that speech fell short. There are many scenarios where words fail, like a shared glance that says, "I understand," or a sigh that expresses frustration more profoundly than an entire dialogue. These silent messages often resonate more effectively than any constructed phrase. Understanding the power of nonverbal communication can significantly enhance our interactions. The next time you find yourself in a conversation, pay attention to the unspoken elements at play. Observe how a slight change in posture or a simple facial expression can alter the tone of the dialogue. You'll realize that while words are important, the manner in which we deliver them, or even if we deliver them at all, can say so much more. Engaging more mindfully with these nonverbal signals can deepen connections with others and lead to more authentic relationships. Chapter 2. The Face as a Mirror of Emotions. The Power of Microexpressions. Microexpressions are those fleeting, sometimes barely perceptible facial expressions that reveal our true emotions, often without us even realizing it. They last only a fraction of a second, yet they hold immense power in conveying feelings like happiness, anger, sadness, and fear. I've often found myself in conversations where someone says one thing, but their face speaks a different truth entirely. This disconnect can be enlightening, especially when trying to gauge someone's sincerity or emotional state. Understanding microexpressions involves recognizing these brief flashes of emotion that can betray a person's true feelings, often revealing what they might be trying to hide. Whether in subtle shifts of the mouth or fleeting furrows in the brow, these expressions provide crucial insight into interpersonal communication. In my experience, recognizing microexpressions takes patience and practice. Look closely at the eyes, as they often reveal the most. When someone is surprised, their eyebrows may raise slightly, and their eyes widen for an instant. A slight clenching of the jaw might suggest anger just beneath the surface. It's all about honing your observation skills during conversations. Pay attention to how someone's expressions match or contradict their words. For instance, if a friend tells you they're excited about a promotion but their lips are pressed tightly together, that might indicate underlying discomfort. To improve your ability to catch these quick emotional signals, I recommend engaging in activities that enhance your attention to detail, like watching films without sound and guessing the emotions of the characters based on their facial expressions alone. Understanding microexpressions not only enhances communication, but also deepens interpersonal relationships. When you become adept at recognizing these signals, you can respond with empathy and insight, fostering a richer dialogue. An effective strategy is to practice mindfulness during conversations, focusing entirely on the speaker and their nonverbal cues. This practice not only sharpens your skills, but also shows the other person that you are genuinely interested in them and their feelings. Remember, the next time you're in a conversation, take a moment to observe the unsaid. It may lead to a more meaningful connection than words alone can achieve. Pay attention, and you might discover a whole new layer to your interactions. Eyes don't lie. Looking someone in the eye can be a powerful experience. Eye contact is not just a social nicety, it can signal trust and honesty. When we gaze into someone's eyes, we unlock a silent language that speaks volumes. Our eyes can reveal our intentions, feelings, and even our sincerity. For instance, a steady gaze often exudes confidence and openness. In contrast, shifty eyes can imply deceit or discomfort. One fascinating aspect of eye behavior is pupil dilation. When we are engaged or feel a connection with someone, our pupils tend to expand, which can subconsciously signal attraction or interest. I remember during conversations with close friends, I noticed how our pupils seemed to mirror each other, creating an intimate bond that words alone could not capture. Understanding these subtleties in eye contact and gaze can profoundly impact how we connect with each other. However, many misconceptions about eye behavior can lead us astray. Not everyone who avoids eye contact is being dishonest. Some people may simply be shy or anxious. Similarly, while intense eye contact can indicate trust, in some cultures, it can be seen as disrespectful. I learned this the hard way during my travels, when what I perceived as a lack of interest was actually a sign of respect. Moreover, the idea that someone's eye movement can instantly reveal lies is an oversimplification of a complex behavior. Our brain processes information in numerous ways, influencing how we use our eyes. The key is to look for patterns and context rather than judging based on a single glance or behavior. Reading eyes is not about catching someone in a lie, but about understanding the richer tapestry of emotions and intentions present in the moment. To enhance your understanding of eye communication, try practicing active observation. Pay attention to how people's pupils change in different emotional situations and notice the effect of various gazes, whether they are soft or intense. Engaging in conversations where eye contact is natural can help you become more in tune with these subtleties. When you can read the messages conveyed through the eyes, you'll find that your interactions become deeper and more meaningful. Remember, while words are important, the eyes can reveal truths that our mouths may hesitate to express. The truth behind smiles. Smiles can tell a story without uttering a single word. I've often noticed how two people can exchange the same gesture, one a genuine smile, the other a forced one, and yet the messages they convey are worlds apart. A genuine smile lights up the face, crinkling the eyes and radiating warmth. It emerges spontaneously, reflecting true happiness or connection. In contrast, a forced smile feels stiff and lacks authenticity. It's as if the smile is merely a mask, hiding discomfort or unease. I've found that in social situations, the ability to discern between these two types of smiles can significantly influence how we perceive one another. A forced smile can create distance and skepticism, while a genuine one invites trust and openness. The impact of these smiles extends beyond personal interactions. They shape social dynamics and influence relationships. People tend to respond more positively to authentic expressions of joy. When I've smiled genuinely, I've witnessed an immediate ripple effect. Others smile back, creating a shared moment of connection. Conversely, when I encounter a forced smile, it often leaves me feeling uncertain, prompting me to question the other person's true feelings. This variability in interpretation showcases the powerful role smiles play in social perception. The nuances of a simple smile can foster relationships or build barriers, demonstrating how deeply our nonverbal cues resonate. Smiles aren't just universal, they are also deeply influenced by culture. I learned this firsthand during my travels when I noticed how a smile in one country could convey entirely different meanings in another. In many Western cultures, smiling is a sign of friendliness and approachability, instantly creating rapport. However, in some Asian cultures, smiling can be a way to mask discomfort or disagreement. During a visit to Japan, I was surprised to discover that people may smile to maintain harmony, even in tense situations. This complexity taught me that understanding the cultural context is crucial to interpreting smiles accurately. Chapter 3: Understanding Hands and Gestures. The Significance of Hand Movements. Gestures play a crucial role in human communication, often serving to amplify spoken words and enhance clarity. I can recall moments when words alone seemed inadequate to express what I wanted to convey, but a simple movement of my hand transformed the message. For instance, when I explain a concept that involves size or distance, my hands instinctively demonstrate the scale, creating a visual that complements my words. It's fascinating how a raised palm can signal a stop, or how an open gesture can invite someone to share their thoughts. This synergy between verbal and physical expression can bridge gaps in understanding, making conversations feel more dynamic and alive. It's as if our hands become the paintbrushes that add color and depth to our spoken canvas, allowing thoughts to take shape beyond the limitations of language. Throughout my experiences, I have also learned that hand signals vary widely across cultures, each carrying its own unique meaning. For example, a thumbs up, which in many places signals approval, can be considered rude in certain Middle Eastern countries. When I traveled to different regions, being mindful of these gestures became essential. In Japan, a downward palm gesture often indicates humility, while in the West, it might simply signify stop. Observing others' hand movements not only revealed their communicative intent, but also their cultural backgrounds. This made interactions richer and more nuanced, as I became aware of the deeper meanings embedded in simple gestures. Understanding these variations has encouraged me to approach conversations with a greater sensitivity, paving the way for more respectful and fruitful exchanges. Recognizing the power of hand movements is not just about enhancing communication in familiar settings. It's also an invitation to explore and connect with diverse cultures and traditions. When engaging with someone from another background, being aware of both one's own gestures and those of others can foster understanding and respect. A practical tip is to observe your conversations. Do your hands complement your words? In what ways can you incorporate gestures to strengthen your message? Pay attention to others' reactions when you use hand movements. Their responses can provide valuable feedback on how effectively your body language communicates. By consciously integrating gestures into our dialogue, we not only enrich our personal expression, but also contribute to a more engaging and meaningful connection with those around us. The unspoken language of touch. Touch is a powerful means of communication. It can speak volumes when words often fall short. I remember the first time I held my partner's hand after a long day. That simple gesture of warmth seemed to melt away the stress of the day. Touch fosters a connection that words sometimes cannot convey. It expresses empathy and understanding, transcending the barriers that language may create. Each gentle caress or reassuring squeeze can signal support and comfort in ways that are deeply felt. In moments of joy or sorrow, a hug can say, "I'm here for you," while a pat on the back can communicate encouragement. The warmth of skin against skin creates a unique bond, emphasizing the emotional ties that exist between individuals. However, the context of touch is crucial. There are appropriate moments when touch can enhance the connection and others when it may be inappropriate or misinterpreted. For instance, a friendly hug among close friends can strengthen their bond, while an unsolicited touch in a professional setting can lead to discomfort. Understanding the psychological effects of touch is important. Research shows that positive touch can reduce stress and increase feelings of security and belonging. It is essential to be mindful of different boundaries. What may feel comforting to one person could feel intrusive to another. Context shapes our perceptions, and knowing when touch is welcomed can mean the difference between fostering intimacy or creating distance. It's helpful to observe body language and cues from those around us. If someone leans in, maintains eye contact, or mirrors our gestures, they may be open to touch. Conversely, crossed arms or body turned away can signal discomfort. Being attuned to these signals can guide us in navigating the unspoken rules of touch. In relationships, it's useful to discuss comfort levels surrounding touch to ensure a mutual understanding. Practicing empathy in this regard can create a safe space where individuals feel loved and respected. Remember, sometimes it's the gentle touch that leaves the most profound impact on our hearts. Mirroring and synchronization. Mirroring is a fascinating technique that allows individuals to build a strong connection with one another. When I first discovered the power of mirroring, I was amazed at how subtly we can influence our interactions. It involves mimicking someone else's behavior, gestures, or expressions, which can create an unspoken bond. For instance, during my conversation with a new colleague, I noticed how lightly she moved her hands while speaking. Without even realizing it, I started to mirror her movements. This led to a more comfortable exchange, as though we fell into a rhythm together. By reflecting her body language, I could feel our rapport deepen, making the conversation not only easier but also more enjoyable. This technique is often used in various settings, from casual chats to professional negotiations, because it fosters an atmosphere of harmony and trust. The simple act of synchronization in our gestures sends a silent message: I understand you. I relate to you. The psychological impact of synchronized movements is profound. When I observed groups of friends interacting, I noticed how they instinctively fell into synchronized gestures. They mirrored not just physical movements, but even their tone and pace of speech. This synchronicity creates a sense of belonging and shared identity among individuals, reinforcing their emotional connections. Research suggests that when we synchronize with someone, our brain activity aligns, which can lead to increased feelings of empathy and understanding. In personal experiences, I found that when my friend and I engaged in a heated discussion, adjusting our body language to mirror one another helped diffuse the tension. By syncing our movements, we inadvertently created a balance that allowed us to listen better to each other. This is a valuable insight into how our bodies communicate and connect, often saying more than words ever could. Understanding the nuances of mirroring and synchronization can dramatically enhance our interactions. It's fascinating to think that simple gestures can impact our relationships on such a deep level. To cultivate this skill, start by being mindful of your own body language during conversations. Notice how the other person engages and gently reflect their movements. By practicing this, not only will you improve your ability to build rapport, but you'll also encourage a more harmonious and engaging dialogue. The next time you want to connect with someone, pay attention to their actions and try to sync your body language. This small shift can lead to remarkable changes in how you communicate and connect with others. Chapter 4: Posture, the Foundation of Presence. How posture influences perception. Every time I step into a room, I can almost feel the energy shift based on how I choose to position my body. There are moments when I stand tall, my shoulders back, and my chin up, while other times I find myself slouching, perhaps subconsciously conforming to a sense of defeat or insecurity. It's fascinating how these physical choices communicate so much more than words could convey. When I stand confidently, I feel the gaze of others shift toward me, as if my stature alone commands respect. Conversely, adopting a submissive posture can lead to feeling overlooked or underestimated. This contrast isn't just in my head, it resonates deeply with others. Postures like open arms and an upright stance signal power and leadership, while crossed arms and lowered gazes suggest withdrawal and a lack of assertiveness. It becomes evident that our body language is a vital tool for expressing our inner state, greatly influencing how others perceive us. Research has shown that our posture is intimately linked to our mental well-being and overall health. I remember encountering a study that explored how individuals with more expansive poses, like the classic Superman stance, reported feeling more empowered compared to those who adopted smaller, closed positions. It's intriguing how simply adjusting my body's positioning can impact my mood and self-image. When I consciously choose to straighten up or expand my space, I notice not only a shift in how I feel inside, but also how the world responds to me. This connection has profound implications. By improving our posture, we can enhance our confidence and even our resilience against stress. It's almost as if the act of standing tall can stimulate positive hormones like testosterone while lowering cortisol, the stress hormone. Incorporating this understanding into daily life offers practical benefits. Taking a moment to check in on my posture during work or conversations can influence not only my mental state, but also how others engage with me. Simple adjustments, like standing firm with my feet planted shoulder-width apart or keeping my head held high, can create ripples of confidence in my interactions. When I recognize the power of my posture, I feel empowered to shape my own narrative and influence the energy around me. Next time you find yourself in a challenging situation, remember to align your body with the strength you wish to project. It may just transform the way you and those around you perceive the moment. Leaning in or leaning back. Body orientation plays a significant role in how we communicate and connect with others. When I think back to various conversations and meetings I've had, I realize how much my posture influenced the outcomes. Leaning in toward someone during a discussion feels inviting and shows that I'm engaged and interested in what they're saying. It creates an atmosphere of openness, and even the subtlest shift can signify my attentiveness. On the flip side, leaning back can signal a lack of interest or disengagement. It can make the other person feel less valued or important, which can be detrimental, especially in a professional setting. Subtle cues, like leaning in or leaning back, shape our interactions and can foster deeper connections or distance them. Understanding these dynamics has become key in my own communication style. Just by adjusting my stance, I can significantly impact the conversation's energy. This awareness extends to meetings as well. A room full of leaning backs can drain the enthusiasm and stifle creativity, while a group that leans in can spark innovation and collaboration. Using proximity is another powerful strategy for enhancing engagement. In my experiences, adjusting how close I stand or sit to others can change everything about an interaction. When I approach someone and maintain a comfortable distance, it feels more personal and inviting. This can be especially important in large group settings or formal meetings. Creating an intimate space by drawing people physically closer not only encourages openness, but also breeds trust and connection. I've noticed that in brainstorming sessions, when I position myself nearer to my colleagues, the ideas flow more freely. Everyone seems to feel a sense of camaraderie, allowing each person to freely share their thoughts without hesitation. On the other hand, too much distance can create barriers. It's about finding that sweet spot, not so close that it feels intrusive, but not so far that it creates emotional detachment. Tailoring my proximity according to the dynamics of the conversation has become a crucial tool in my communication arsenal. A practical tip I've found invaluable is to observe the nonverbal cues of those around me. Noticing how others respond to my body orientation and proximity can guide me in adjusting my approach in real time. For example, if I notice someone leaning back or shifting away, it's a signal for me to lean in a little more, both physically and figuratively. Making these adjustments creates a more engaged and collaborative atmosphere, fostering deeper relationships and more productive conversations. Ultimately, mastering the balance of body orientation and proximity means being intentional about how we connect with others, leading to more fulfilling interactions. Mastering space. Understanding personal space is essential for effective communication, yet its meaning can change dramatically from one culture to another. In my travels, I have encountered a wide range of interpretations regarding how close or far away one should stand during a conversation. For instance, in some European countries, people are comfortable standing quite close, engaging in intimate conversations without a second thought. On the other hand, many Asian cultures emphasize a more considerable distance, often perceiving too much closeness as intrusive or disrespectful. I vividly remember attending a gathering in Japan, where I noted how conversations often occurred with a polite space maintained between individuals, enhancing a sense of respect and formality. This distinction not only highlights the cultural nuances surrounding personal space, but also illustrates how it significantly impacts communication dynamics, often dictating the level of comfort and openness between individuals. To navigate this, it's crucial to be observant and flexible, allowing cultural norms to guide our interactions. Respecting boundaries while asserting your presence is a delicate balance that can make or break relationships. Through various experiences, I've learned that being mindful of others' comfort zones does not mean diminishing your own presence. When entering a group, I've found it helpful to approach slowly, allowing those already engaged in conversation to acknowledge my presence first. This simple act can establish a sense of respect right from the start. If I need to assert myself, I do so with an open body language, standing tall, making eye contact, and using a friendly tone. These gestures communicate confidence without crossing invisible barriers. Should the situation arise where someone is too close for comfort, I've often utilized gentle shifts in my stance or a slight movement back to signal the need for personal space without saying a word. Practicing these respectful maneuvers not only cultivates a positive atmosphere, but also fosters mutual understanding, paving the way for meaningful interactions. Chapter 5. The Subtle Clues of Feet and Lower Body. Feet don't lie. Observing someone's feet can often reveal what they are truly feeling, even when their faces mask their emotions with a smile or a frown. I've found that the way people position their feet speaks volumes about their comfort level and intentions. For instance, when someone is excited or genuinely happy, their feet may point toward the source of their enthusiasm, like a person they're engaging with. Conversely, if someone's feet are turned away, it can indicate discomfort or a desire to leave the situation, even if their smile suggests otherwise. I remember a time in a crowded room when I locked eyes with someone who seemed cheerful, but their feet were positioned towards the exit. It became clear they weren't as engaged as they let on, and it was an interesting reminder of how our bodies often reveal our hidden truths. Key foot movements play a significant role in social interactions, too. Have you ever noticed how people tap or fidget with their feet when they are nervous? This instinctive behavior can betray anxious feelings, even when their words suggest they are calm. In social settings, someone may lean back with crossed legs, a posture that signals they are closed off or disinterested in what's happening around them. On the other hand, open stances, where feet are planted firmly and facing others, convey a willingness to engage and connect. I've seen how groups of friends subtly mimic each other's foot positioning, which often creates a sense of rapport and understanding in conversations. Understanding these cues can help you read the room better and respond appropriately to social dynamics. Being mindful of even the most subtle foot movements can greatly enhance your social interactions. It's fascinating how these small signals can dictate the flow of conversation and influence relationships. Next time you find yourself in a social situation, pay attention to the feet surrounding you. You'll likely discover a new layer of understanding in your interactions, helping you navigate conversations with greater insight and empathy. The power of direction. The way we position our feet can reveal so much about our thoughts and feelings. I've noticed in conversations how my friends' feet shift when we discuss topics of interest. When someone faces me directly, their feet often point toward me, signaling engagement. This subtle body language shows that they are present in the moment, fully invested in what I have to say. Conversely, when their feet start to angle away, it feels like a disengagement, a sign that their attention may be drifting elsewhere. It's fascinating how simple shifts can offer such insight into the mind's focus. I've found that being aware of my own foot positioning can help me stay connected in conversations and encourages me to recognize when others might be pulling away. Foot positioning can also unearth hidden intentions in various scenarios. For instance, during a job interview, my interviewer's feet were pointed towards the door despite their polite demeanor. I could sense a subtle urgency that suggested they were ready for the meeting to end. This kind of nonverbal cue taught me that foot direction can reflect unspoken thoughts. I began to observe how during discussions, people often shift their feet unconsciously, revealing their true feelings. A person who leans in but has their feet subtly turned away might be conflicted, caught between interest and a desire to retreat. Recognizing these signals can sharpen our interpersonal acumen and deepen our connections. Understanding this can be a game changer in both personal and professional realms. By paying close attention to the direction of our feet and those around us, we can enhance our awareness of engagement levels and intentions. It encourages a deeper understanding of conversations and enables us to respond accordingly. The next time you feel a disconnect in dialogue, take a moment to observe those subtle foot movements. You may uncover a new layer to communication that transforms how you interact with others. Restlessness and fidgeting. Fidgeting is often considered a nuisance, but I've come to learn that these small movements can reveal a great deal about our emotional state. For instance, when I find myself tapping my foot or drumming my fingers on a desk, it's not just a sign of impatience. It can also indicate a rise in anxiety or excitement. From my experiences, I've noticed that these behaviors frequently surface during situations that provoke strong feelings. Whether it's a thrilling moment in a presentation or the anxious wait before a big meeting, our bodies often respond with involuntary motions. These tics, such as biting nails or shifting in our seats, signal something deeper. Perhaps our minds are racing, our hearts are pounding, or we're simply trying to release pent-up energy. Understanding this can help us be more compassionate towards ourselves and others who exhibit such behaviors, recognizing they might be coping with their thoughts and feelings in real time. In professional contexts, managing fidgeting becomes essential to maintain focus and presentability. I discovered several strategies that work remarkably well. One technique is to channel that excess energy into a more discreet action. For example, squeezing a stress ball or using a fidget spinner under the table can keep my hands busy without drawing attention from colleagues. Additionally, practicing mindfulness has helped me immensely. By taking a few deep breaths and grounding myself in the present moment, I can often curb the urge to fidget. I've also learned the value of taking short breaks. Allowing myself a moment to stretch or walk around can release the restlessness that might otherwise manifest in constant movements. If you find yourself in a meeting where fidgeting feels inevitable, try to focus on your breathing or engage in active listening, which not only keeps you calm but helps absorb the discussion at hand. Understanding and managing our fidgeting habits can significantly enhance our professional interactions. It's essential to stay aware of our bodies and emotions, particularly in high-stakes situations. Recognizing the patterns of our restlessness allows us to navigate them more effectively. A useful tip is to develop a personal toolkit of calming techniques that can ground you whenever you feel fidgety. This could be a simple breathing exercise or a mental checklist to redirect your focus. By embracing both our nervous energy and our tranquil moments, we can thrive in any environment. Chapter 6: Decoding Deception, the Red Flags of Lies. Recognizing stress and discomfort. During conversations, I have come to realize that paying attention to physical signs is crucial in identifying stress or discomfort, not just within myself but also in others. I've noticed subtle shifts in body language, such as crossed arms, fidgeting, or avoiding eye contact, which often signal unease. Sometimes, a person's breathing pattern changes. They might take quick, shallow breaths, or even hold their breath momentarily. Tension in the jaw or clenched fists can indicate rising stress levels. These physical cues can speak volumes, indicating that the conversation is either veering into uncomfortable territory or that the person is feeling overwhelmed. Being aware of these signs can help me adjust my approach, whether it's shifting the topic, offering reassurance, or simply creating space for the other person to express their feelings. Distinguishing between stress signals and genuine emotional responses is another layer to this understanding. In my experiences, I've found that stress might trigger a range of reactions that can sometimes mimic true emotional expressions like sadness or anger. For instance, when someone is stressed, they may respond to a neutral comment with unexpected intensity. Their frustration could mask underlying feelings of vulnerability or fear. It's essential to discern whether these reactions stem from immediate stressors or are reflections of deeper emotional issues. I've learned to listen not only to the words being said, but also to the emotions conveyed in the tone, pace, and volume of speech. Taking the time to explore the underlying reasons for what might initially appear as anger or annoyance can turn a stressful exchange into a more meaningful connection. Being attuned to these signs has transformed my interactions. It's about fostering an environment where open communication thrives. I've found that when I express understanding and validate the other person's feelings, it often lessens their discomfort. A simple gesture, like a nod or an affirmative response, can go a long way. Encouraging individuals to express what they're feeling helps in shifting the atmosphere from stressful to supportive. It's a reminder that we all have our struggles, and that acknowledging someone's discomfort can pave the way for healing conversations. Clusters of cues. Observing multiple cues is crucial in understanding the full context of human interaction. Relying on a single signal can lead to misleading interpretations. For instance, a person crossing their arms might make you think they are closed off or defensive. However, if you observe additional cues, such as their facial expressions or the tone of their voice, the situation might reveal itself to be very different. It's easy to jump to conclusions based on one behavior, but gathering a cluster of cues allows for a more nuanced understanding. I recall a time when someone I knew seemed increasingly distant during conversations. Initially, I took their body language as a sign of disinterest. Upon closer observation, I noticed they were fidgeting with their hands and avoiding eye contact because they were nervous rather than disengaged. This taught me the value of seeing the bigger picture and not to jump to conclusions based solely on one behavior. To delve deeper into body language and its patterns, one must consider how movements interconnect. For example, when a person leans slightly forward, maintains open posture, and nods while listening, it suggests engagement and interest. On the other hand, if their feet are pointed away from you, arms crossed, and their head is slightly tilted back, these cluster cues indicate discomfort or a desire to exit the conversation. By analyzing these patterns, you can more accurately interpret the emotional state of others. I once observed a colleague during a team meeting. While she had a confident posture and engaged in back-and-forth discussions, her fingers were tapping on the table, creating a contradiction. This taught me to recognize that sometimes our body can betray our true feelings. Understanding these patterns becomes a crucial tool for accurate interpretation, enabling deeper connections and better communication. Paying attention to clusters of cues not only enriches interpersonal communication, but also enhances your awareness of your emotional state. When you notice your body language aligning or contradicting how you feel, it offers valuable insight into your well-being. Practice being mindful of the cues you project, as well as those you receive from others. Together, they can serve as a roadmap to navigate social situations with greater clarity and empathy. Make it a habit to reflect on interactions throughout your day, observing how both you and others communicate through a web of signals rather than isolated gestures. This awareness may just transform the way you connect with the world around you. How to respond when you spot deception. When I encounter a situation that feels off, where I suspect that someone might not be telling the truth, the first step I take is to approach the situation with curiosity rather than accusation. It's crucial to consider that there may be underlying reasons for what I perceive as deception. Instead of jumping to conclusions, I focus on asking open-ended questions that invite the other person to share more. For example, rather than saying, "That's not true," I might say, "Can you help me understand this better?" This technique opens up a dialogue and allows the other person the chance to clarify their point of view without feeling threatened. Engaging them in conversation helps create a safer environment where honesty can emerge. I find that showing understanding and willingness to listen often leads to a more productive interaction, and sometimes the truth comes out more easily when people don't feel cornered. It's easy for emotions to flare when we suspect someone is being deceptive, but maintaining composure is essential. I remind myself that how I react can influence the outcome of the conversation. Approaching the situation with calmness and professionalism helps keep the dialogue constructive. I take deep breaths and focus on my body language, ensuring it communicates openness rather than defensiveness. If I feel myself getting emotional, I pause to collect my thoughts before responding. This restraint not only reflects maturity, but also encourages the other person to engage more respectfully. If I confront them heatedly, it could lead to defensiveness and escalation, causing us to stray further from the truth instead of getting closer to it. Staying balanced and professional also sets the tone of the conversation, signaling to them that I am serious about understanding rather than just proving them wrong. In the midst of these conversations, one useful piece of wisdom I often lean on is to focus on the behavior rather than the person. This means I express how the specific actions or words seem inconsistent rather than labeling the person as a liar. Instead of saying, "You're lying," a more effective approach would be, "What you said doesn't quite add up to what I observed." This nuance in language fosters an atmosphere of collaboration instead of conflict. Practicing this has made it easier for me to tackle tough conversations and uncover the truth while avoiding unnecessary hostility. Remember, there's often more beneath the surface than we see at first glance, and each person we engage with has their own story that might explain their behavior. Chapter 7. The Art of Influence, Using Body Language to Build Trust. Creating a Positive First Impression. Body language plays a critical role in how others perceive us, especially during those initial moments of interaction. When I think back to my own experiences, I recall the times when I met someone new and felt an immediate connection, or conversely, that awkward distance. Subtle cues, such as a warm smile or a confident stance, have an incredible impact. Maintaining eye contact communicates engagement and interest, showing that we are attentively listening. On the other hand, crossed arms or averted gaze can create barriers, suggesting disinterest or defensiveness. I've noticed that open body language, where we position ourselves to be approachable, can invite further conversation. This isn't just about what we say. It encompasses everything from how we hold ourselves to our facial expressions. A genuine smile can light up a room and set a positive tone right from the start. With the power of body language, we can project confidence and friendliness, crafting those all-important first impressions that linger long after the interaction has ended. Enhancing our presence during those initial interactions involves several strategies that I've found effective over the years. One of the simplest yet most impactful tips is to practice active listening. It's not just about hearing the words. It's about showing genuine interest in what the other person is saying. Nodding occasionally and responding thoughtfully keeps the flow of conversation alive and shows that we care. Another technique I've embraced is the power of mirroring. Subtly mimicking the other person's body language, from gestures to posture, creates a sense of rapport and connection. Additionally, being mindful of our tone of voice is essential. A calm, warm tone draws others in, while a rushed or harsh delivery can push them away. Practicing these strategies in low-stakes environments, like casual meetups, can build our confidence for more significant interactions. The goal is to be authentic while making conscious choices about how we present ourselves. This way, we set the stage for enriching relationships from the very first moment. As I reflect on my journey, I realize that creating a positive first impression is about intention and awareness. Every encounter is an opportunity to leave a mark, whether in a personal or professional context. One practical tip that has proven helpful is to take a brief moment before any introduction to ground myself. Taking a deep breath allows me to center my thoughts and approach the interaction with a clear mind and open heart. Keeping this in mind, I encourage you to notice your body language and practice the strategies we've explored. With a little effort, every new connection can blossom into something meaningful. Establishing rapport through mirroring. Mirroring is a powerful, yet often subtle technique that helps us connect with others in a deeper and more meaningful way. It unfolds naturally as you engage with someone, sharing gestures, body language, or even vocal tones. I remember a time when I was at a networking event, feeling quite out of place. As I spoke to a fellow attendee, I noticed that without any conscious effort, I began to mimic her posture and expressions. The moment I did this, a sense of comfort washed over both of us. She opened up, sharing her thoughts more openly, and the conversation flowed effortlessly. Mirroring builds connections because it signals to the other person that you are in tune with them, fostering trust and understanding. By matching someone's body language or mirroring their enthusiasm, you create a space where both individuals can feel at ease, allowing the relationship to strengthen naturally. To practice mirroring effectively, start by being aware of the other person's nonverbal cues. Pay attention to their posture, gestures, and facial expressions. If they lean in while talking, try leaning in slightly as well to show your interest. I found that when I used a similar tone and speed of speech, it seemed to create an invisible thread connecting us. Another technique is to listen attentively and then reflect back their emotions with empathy. If they express happiness, share in that excitement. If they sound concerned, acknowledge their feelings verbally and through your expressions. These small adjustments in how we respond can have a huge impact on how the other person feels. The key lies in being genuine. Never mimic in a way that feels forced, as this can come off as insincere. Being mindful of your own body language, while mirroring allows you to create a balanced connection. Stand or sit in a similar way to the person you are engaging with, but do not overdo it. The goal is to foster harmony, not to mimic. A practical tip is to practice this technique in everyday interactions. Whether it's with a colleague, a friend, or even a stranger, observe how they communicate and respond. With time, you will find mirroring becomes a natural part of your interactions, enhancing the way you connect with others. Projecting confidence. Specific body language habits can speak volumes about us, often more than our words. I learned this firsthand during a crucial presentation early in my career when I realized how my nervous fidgeting undermined my message. Standing tall, shoulders back, and maintaining eye contact made a shift in both my audience's perception and my own feeling of assurance. Each gesture matters. A firm handshake conveys decisiveness, while open palms can signify honesty and approachability. When I consciously chose to adopt a confident posture, I not only felt more capable, but also noticed that people responded to me differently. They leaned in, engaged more, and seemed to trust my expertise. This subtle interplay between body language and perceived competence is like a hidden script we all can learn to write, casting us as confident narrators in the stories of our lives. To develop a confident body language style, I encourage you to practice awareness in your daily life. Start by standing in front of a mirror for a few minutes each day. Observe your posture, facial expression, and gestures. Try to soften any tense areas. Relaxed body language invites connection. An exercise I found particularly helpful involves taking a few moments to visualize a confident figure, an inspiring leader perhaps. Then, imitate their posture and mannerisms. It may feel strange at first, but soon, you'll find your body begins to absorb these traits. Practicing power poses before a big moment, like a presentation or an interview, can also shift your mindset. Stand like a superhero for a couple of minutes. It may feel silly, but this simple act can enhance your feelings of confidence dramatically. Each small step we take toward cultivating confident body language contributes to a more assertive presence. Remember that confidence is not just about how we stand or move, but also how we perceive ourselves. The next time you feel self-doubt creeping in, try adjusting your body language. Even a subtle change can have a powerful impact. By consistently practicing body language techniques and visualizations, you can cultivate an authentic sense of confidence that resonates in every interaction. Start where you are and focus on being aware of your body. It's the foundation of projecting the confidence you're capable of embodying. Chapter 8: The Cultural Dimension of Body Language. Universal Cues versus Cultural Differences. Body language serves as a crucial component of communication, often conveying more than words ever could. Through my experiences traveling and interacting with people from various cultures, I have come to understand that there are gestures and signals recognizable across different societies. For instance, a smile generally signifies friendliness and openness, transcending linguistic boundaries. Similarly, many cultures interpret nodding as agreement, while shaking the head typically means refusal. However, what I have found fascinating are the nuances that set apart universal cues from those deeply rooted in specific cultural contexts. Diving deeper, I encountered instances where gestures that may seem harmless or universally understood in one culture led to misunderstandings in another. In some Middle Eastern countries, for example, the thumbs-up gesture is considered highly offensive, contrasting starkly with its positive connotation in the West. While I marveled at the richness of these differing interpretations, it also made me acutely aware of the implications they have, especially in a globalized world. A misunderstanding, no matter how minor, can lead to embarrassing situations or even the breakdown of professional relationships during international meetings. The way someone uses their hands, tilts their head, or maintains eye contact can drastically alter the message being conveyed, leading to confusion or offense if not approached with cultural sensitivity. One particularly insightful moment occurred during a business trip to Japan. I noticed that bowing was far more than a polite greeting. It indicated respect and humility. Initially, I reverted to my usual firm handshake, but quickly learned that this approach was considered too forward. Observing the subtle dance of body language and respecting these cultural differences transformed my interactions. To navigate the complexities of communication, one should always be willing to adapt and learn. Being vigilant of the gestures we use can lead to richer, more authentic connections across cultures. A practical tip is to research the nonverbal communication customs of a culture before engaging with its individuals. This preparation not only minimizes misunderstandings, but can also create a warm atmosphere of mutual respect. Body language in different contexts. Observing body language in various settings can reveal a lot about the underlying emotions and intentions at play. In formal contexts, such as business meetings or formal events, body language tends to be more restrained and deliberate. For instance, people often maintain a certain level of professionalism, which can be seen in their posture, standing tall with shoulders back or maintaining eye contact as a sign of respect. Shaking hands firmly is another indicator of confidence in these scenarios. Contrastingly, in informal settings like a casual gathering with friends, the body language tends to be more relaxed and fluid. People might lean into conversations, use wider gestures, and display more open body language. In my own experiences, I've noticed how a simple shift in posture can carry different weights depending on the environment. What feels appropriate in one setting can easily come off as too stiff or overly casual in another. Exploring the variations in body language across different professional environments uncovers even more nuances. In creative fields, for example, the atmosphere often encourages more expressive gestures and relaxed body positions. It's common to see colleagues leaning on desks while brainstorming. However, in more traditional environments such as law or finance, there's a noticeable emphasis on maintaining an authoritative and controlled demeanor. During meetings, participants might cross their arms or keep their feet firmly planted to project confidence and stability. I remember attending a conference where professionals from various industries mingled, and the differences in body language were striking. While the tech sector seemed to embrace innovation with relaxed postures and open gestures, the finance professionals were more reserved, carefully curating their body language to maintain an aura of seriousness. For anyone navigating social interactions or professional environments, being aware of these dynamics can be incredibly helpful. A practical tip to enhance your own communication is to mirror the body language of those around you in a subtle way. This technique, known as mirroring, can promote connection and rapport, making the conversation flow more naturally. Pay attention to the setting and adjust your body language accordingly. Notice if you're being too formal in informal situations or too relaxed in professional ones. By tuning into the subtle cues and adapting your approach, you not only improve your communication, but also create a more engaging atmosphere for everyone involved. Misinterpretation and its consequences. Misreading body language can lead to a cascade of misunderstandings, whether at home, in the office, or anywhere in between. I once found myself in a heated conversation with a colleague who crossed her arms and looked away. I interpreted her body language as a sign of disagreement, feeling defensive and frustrated. What I didn't realize was that she was merely cold and distracted by a personal issue. Her body language had nothing to do with my proposal. This kind of misinterpretation can create unnecessary tension, erode trust, and damage relationships. In personal situations, something as innocent as a friend's facial expression can send us spiraling into doubt if we misinterpret their mood. It's in these moments that we can mistakenly assume hostility, disinterest, or even betrayal, leading to conflicts that could have been entirely avoided with more careful observation and open communication. To navigate these tricky waters of miscommunication, we can employ a few effective strategies that have worked for me. First, cultivate awareness of your own body language. When you speak, think about the signals you're sending. Are your arms crossed? Is your tone flat? Being conscious of how you present yourself can help reduce misunderstandings. Second, ask clarifying questions. If you feel something is off, instead of jumping to conclusions, I've found it immensely helpful to say something like, "I noticed you seemed a bit distant just now. Is everything okay?" This invites an open dialogue that can clear up misinterpretations before they escalate. Third, practice active listening. It's not just about hearing words. It's about understanding the feelings and intentions behind them. Observe nonverbal cues and show that you're engaged. Nod your head, maintain eye contact, and reflect back what you've heard. This builds a connection and shows that you value the other person's perspective. Embracing these techniques can create a foundation for healthier communication and a deeper understanding of one another. By taking the initiative to clarify and connect, we diminish the chances of misinterpretation and its possible fallout. A practical tip that has helped me tremendously is to pause and breathe before reacting to what I perceive. This moment of stillness allows me to assess the situation more critically and respond with empathy rather than defensiveness. In a world where our interactions are often dictated by assumptions, taking a step back can illuminate the truth that resides beyond mere body language. Chapter 9: Nonverbal Communication in Personal Relationships. The Dance of Attraction. Body language plays a crucial role in how we connect with others, especially in romantic settings. I've noticed that the way we position ourselves, the gestures we use, and even our facial expressions can send powerful messages about attraction. For instance, leaning slightly towards someone during a conversation makes it clear you're engaged and interested. A soft smile can draw them in, making the atmosphere feel warm and inviting. I remember one evening at a friend's party when I caught the eye of someone across the room. I could see their body facing me, arms relaxed, and a genuine smile softening their features. That unspoken communication sparked an undeniable chemistry between us. It's fascinating how our bodies often communicate before our words even have a chance to form. The subtle inclinations of our shoulders, or the way we mimic each other's movements, can either bridge the gap between two people or create distance without either of us even realizing it. Recognizing attraction signals is the next step in this dance. I've learned that some signs are more obvious than others. If you find someone is glancing your way often, or if they lean in when speaking, those are clear indicators of interest. I remember once I noticed a friend consistently playing with her hair and making prolonged eye contact with a guy at a cafe. It was immediately clear there was a spark there. When you're aware of these signals, it can be easier to initiate a connection. Sometimes, all it takes is a lighthearted comment or a question to break the ice. I've found that initiating conversation doesn't have to feel daunting. Just approaching someone with a genuine curiosity about their interests or experiences can set the stage for something beautiful. Remember, everyone has their own unique rhythm in this dance of attraction. The key is to be open and responsive to the signals being exchanged. As we navigate the nuances of attraction, it's important to remember that confidence, combined with active listening, can elevate any interaction. When you engage someone with genuine interest, asking questions and reflecting on what they say, it not only shows attentiveness but also invites deeper connections. Practicing these skills helps to create a space where both parties can be vulnerable, making the dance of attraction not just exhilarating but also rewarding. So the next time you're out and about, pay attention to the body language around you and don't hesitate to respond to those unspoken cues. This awareness could open the door to a connection you never expected. Recognizing emotional distance. Emotional distance in relationships often presents itself through subtle, yet telling body language cues. I have become increasingly aware of these signs over the years, as they can speak volumes more than words ever could. For instance, crossed arms might suggest defensiveness or a desire to shut off from the person opposite you. Similarly, avoiding eye contact can indicate discomfort and a lack of connection. When someone leans away during a conversation, it usually shows that they are withdrawing emotionally. Additionally, a lack of physical touch, like holding hands or a comforting hug, can create a void that makes it difficult to feel close to one another. I've also noticed that facial expressions can be quite revealing. A tense jaw or a brow furrowed in thought often signifies unresolved feelings or stress that keeps individuals at arm's length. Recognizing these cues is the first step in bridging the emotional gaps we encounter in our relationships. It takes awareness and intention to foster emotional closeness, but it's definitely achievable. One effective strategy I've found is to initiate open conversations where both parties feel safe to express their feelings. It's about creating a space where vulnerability is encouraged. Additionally, engaging in shared activities can also strengthen bonds. Whether it's cooking together or simply taking a walk, these moments help to build intimacy. Practicing active listening is crucial as well. Giving your full attention can promote a deeper understanding and connection. When I notice emotional distance, I try taking small, meaningful actions like sending a thoughtful text or planning a surprise date night, which can remind the other person of our shared love and connection. Understanding the dynamics of emotional distance and being proactive about bridging those gaps can significantly improve relationships. When you notice such signals, take the opportunity to reach out and reconnect with openness and curiosity. Remember that a simple gesture or a heartfelt conversation can be just the catalyst needed to reignite the emotional warmth that may have cooled over time. Conflict resolution. Understanding body language is a powerful tool when it comes to resolving interpersonal conflicts. I've found that many disagreements can escalate due to misinterpretations of nonverbal cues. For instance, someone might cross their arms during a discussion, which can be perceived as being defensive or closed off. However, this gesture might not always indicate hostility. It could simply mean that they are feeling cold or uncomfortable. By paying close attention to the subtle signals that people send through their body language, we can gain deeper insights into their emotional states. This awareness helps to steer the conversation towards a more empathetic and constructive direction. When eyes dart around or when a person avoids eye contact, it could signal discomfort or a desire to withdraw, signaling to us that a shift in approach may be necessary. Connecting our words with an understanding of these physical cues transforms a confrontational scenario into a dialogue rooted in understanding. Alongside body language, communication techniques can profoundly influence how we engage during disagreements. I've personally experienced how active listening fosters an environment of empathy. This approach involves not just hearing the words being spoken, but truly striving to understand the underlying feelings behind them. In my own disagreements, when I made a conscious effort to paraphrase what the other person was saying, I discovered that it prompted them to feel heard and validated. Techniques like using I statements also helped me express my feelings without assigning blame. Rather than saying, "You always interrupt me," I might say, "I feel overlooked when I'm not allowed to finish my thoughts." This subtle shift shifts the conversation from a confrontational stance towards collaboration. Creating a space for openness requires patience and sincerity, but those moments of heartfelt exchange can turn a potentially volatile situation into a foundation for healing and understanding. Effective conflict resolution hinges on our ability to blend awareness of body language with compassionate communication techniques. When I began to prioritize these strategies, I noticed a significant change in the dynamics of my interactions. A practical tip I cherish is to take a moment to observe before responding in a heated discussion. Grounding myself and reading the physical atmosphere can provide clarity before words are exchanged, allowing for a more productive conversation. It's often in those quiet moments that the path to resolution reveals itself. Chapter 10: Professional Power: Mastering Body Language in the Workplace. Commanding authority and respect. I have often found that body language speaks volumes before any words are even uttered. When I walk into a professional setting, I make it a point to stand tall, shoulders back, and maintain an open posture. This simple act instantly changes how others perceive me. People tend to take notice when I keep my head up and make eye contact, as though I am inviting conversations rather than shying away from them. Nervous habits, like crossing my arms or shuffling my feet, are not part of my repertoire. Instead, I use gestures as a means of engagement, allowing my hands to move naturally while I speak, subtly guiding my audience to connect with my message. When we project confidence through our body language, not only do we command authority, but we also foster respect from others, creating a fertile ground for productive interactions. Consistency in both body language and verbal communication is vital in establishing trust and reliability. I have learned that it is not enough to project confidence in fleeting moments. It must become an ingrained practice. When I am consistent in my body language, keeping the same open posture and steady gaze, it reinforces the words I speak. For instance, if I express confidence verbally while my crossed arms suggest defensiveness, I create confusion and doubt among my peers. It is crucial that my verbal cues match my nonverbal signals, as this alignment builds credibility. When I converse, I strive to keep my tone steady and my message clear, ensuring that my expressions and gestures are in harmony. This consistency positions me as a reliable leader, someone whose words carry weight and command respect. When embodying authority through body language and maintaining consistency, I find that interactions become more meaningful and impactful. The respect I receive from colleagues results not just from statements made, but from the collective impression I create, an embodiment of integrity, approachability, and confidence. The next time you step into a room, remember that your presence is felt long before you speak. Practice standing tall, maintain eye contact, and ensure your words are in sync with your gestures. This simple awareness can enhance how others engage with you and can transform conversations from mere exchanges to influential dialogues. Reading the room. Understanding the emotional climate of a group can sometimes feel like walking a tightrope, where each person's body language serves as a balancing act that hints at their true feelings. I've found that observing subtle cues, like crossed arms, fidgeting fingers, or an unyielding gaze, can reveal a lot about what others are experiencing. When I notice someone leaning in or nodding, it often signifies engagement, while a lack of eye contact can indicate disinterest or discomfort. These nuanced signals are like the hidden chapters of a story waiting to be uncovered. Making a habit of reading these signals can transform interactions, allowing for deeper connections and more meaningful conversations. One time during a team meeting, I noticed a colleague tapping their foot in a rapid rhythm. Rather than continuing with my presentation, I paused to check in. This small gesture opened up a discussion that made everyone feel heard and valued. It taught me that understanding body language is not just about observation. It's an act of empathy that invites participation. Once I have a sense of the group's vibe, my next step is adapting my communication style to better resonate with my audience. There's a delicate art to adjusting how I speak based on the nonverbal cues I observe. For instance, if I sense tension through stiff postures or furrowed brows, I shift my approach to be more approachable and reassuring. I might soften my voice, introduce friendly anecdotes, or even use humor to lighten the mood. Conversely, when the energy is high and lively, I match that enthusiasm, using a more animated tone and engaging storytelling. I remember a presentation where my audience was initially stiff, showing almost no signs of engagement. Once I switched gears, leaning into a more informal style and inviting questions, I could see the mood lighten. Smiles started appearing, and soon the room buzzed with interaction. This taught me that effective communication isn't just about sharing information. It's about creating a dialogue that resonates with the audience's emotional state. The essence of reading the room and adapting accordingly lies in being fully present. Cultivating an awareness of nonverbal communication can enhance not only professional interactions, but also personal relationships. I found that taking a moment to breathe and genuinely observe those around me, picking up on how they respond to my voice, my words, my energy, helps me hone in on what they truly need. A practical tip I've learned is to practice mindfulness before entering a new social setting. By centering myself and setting the intention to connect, I position myself to pick up on those subtle nonverbal cues more effectively. The next time you find yourself in a group, remember to slow down, pay attention, and let the silent conversations guide your words. Interview and negotiation success. Body language is more than just gestures. It's a powerful tool that can elevate your presence during interviews and negotiations. I vividly remember a time when, despite my nerves, I shifted my posture and maintained eye contact with the interviewer. I noticed the immediate impact it had on the atmosphere of the conversation. Simple yet effective body language skills can enhance your performance significantly. For instance, keeping an open stance, where your arms are relaxed by your sides rather than crossed, invites connection. Nodding in response to someone's statements shows engagement, while a firm handshake establishes an immediate sense of confidence. These subtle signals create a rapport and foster a positive environment that encourages open dialogue. Maintaining composure during high-pressure situations is crucial. There have been moments during tense negotiations when my heart raced and my palms felt sweaty, yet I learned how to project calm. The trick lies in focusing on my breath. When I consciously slow my breathing, it not only steadies my nerves but also projects confidence to the person sitting across from me. Combining this technique with a clear, steady voice can turn the tide in your favor. It's essential to be aware of your body's reactions and reframe any negative thoughts that creep in. By visualizing a positive outcome, I found that I could ground myself, allowing me to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Embracing this practice of mindfulness underscores the importance of being present in the moment. A practical tip is to prepare for both interviews and negotiations by role-playing with a friend or a mentor. This allows you to practice your body language and responses in a safe space. Ask for feedback on your nonverbal cues and how you come across under simulated pressure. The more comfortable you become practicing these scenarios, the easier it will be to embrace the real thing. When you walk into an interview or negotiation, you'll not only feel ready, but also exude an air of confidence that others can perceive. This preparation, combined with effective body language and maintained composure, will create an undeniable edge, setting the stage for success. Chapter 11. The Power of Awareness, Enhancing Your Observational Skills. Training your eye. Sharpening your observational skills can transform the mundane into something extraordinary. I've learned that even simple interactions hold layers of meaning waiting to be uncovered. For practical exercises, I often choose a public place like a coffee shop or park. While sitting there, I focus intently on the people around me. Instead of zoning out, I challenge myself to notice the little details. I observe how someone holds their coffee cup, the rhythm of their gestures as they speak, or the subtle shifts in their facial expressions. By making it a game, I turn passive observation into an active practice. After a while, I'm surprised by how much more I begin to see. These small exercises help sharpen my eye, and I start translating these observations into insights about emotions and personalities. Mindfulness is key in enhancing awareness, especially regarding body language, which speaks volumes more than words ever could. I try to remain present in conversations, paying attention not just to what's said, but how it's said. I watch for slight movements, a twitch of a hand, a tilt of the head, or an absent gaze. These gestures often tell me more than the spoken words. By honing in on these subtle signals, I can understand others better, empathizing with their emotions and intentions on a deeper level. A simple breath can ground me, keeping my focus clear as I navigate the complexities of interaction. To further connect with this practice, I recommend starting small. Choose one conversation a day where you dedicate your full attention to the other person. Notice their body language and the atmosphere around you. Do they seem open, or are they closed off? What feelings does the environment evoke? These insights will expand your understanding of the art of communication and deepen your connection with those around you. When you open your eyes to these nuances, the world becomes richer and more vibrant. Staying grounded in your own body language. Self-awareness plays a crucial role in delivering effective body language. I've experienced firsthand how important it is to understand my own feelings and the way they manifest through my body. When I'm anxious, for example, I tend to fidget or cross my arms, which can send the wrong signals to those around me. By being aware of these tendencies, I can consciously adjust my posture, gestures, and facial expressions to better align with the message I aim to convey. It becomes clear that body language is not a mere accessory to our words, but a fundamental aspect of our communication that can either enhance or undermine our intentions. Recognizing how my emotions influence my body language has allowed me to present myself more authentically, fostering deeper connections with others. There are strategies that can help align your internal feelings with the body language you express. One effective approach is to pause and take a moment to check in with yourself before any significant interaction. This simple practice allows me to breathe deeply and acknowledge my current emotional state. If I find myself feeling uncertain or defensive, I can choose to open up my posture instead of closing myself off. Visualization techniques can also be beneficial. Picturing myself in a confident stance can elevate not only my mood, but also the way I hold myself in front of others. Incorporating mindfulness exercises into your daily routine can create a seamless connection between your thoughts, emotions, and body language, leading to more coherent self-expression. Always remember that the body is a powerful tool of communication. By staying grounded in your own body language, you make it easier for others to connect with you and understand your intentions. One useful tip I've adopted is to practice mirroring the body language of those I converse with. This doesn't mean imitating them exactly, but subtly aligning my gestures and posture with theirs can foster rapport and make conversations feel more natural. Being aware and intentional in this way enriches interactions and allows for a more authentic exchange of ideas and feelings. Avoiding biases. We often overlook the influence of our biases when interpreting body language, which can lead to significant misunderstandings. For instance, I've caught myself assuming someone is disinterested simply because of their crossed arms. Yet, later I learned that this individual was simply cold. The biases that cloud our judgment include confirmation bias, where we tend to see what we expect to see rather than what is there. This is often influenced by our past experiences or preconceived notions about a person or situation. Another common bias is the halo effect, where one positive trait overshadows all the negatives, making us misinterpret the other person's cues. This means interpreting friendly gestures as a sign of agreement, ignoring any conflicting nonverbal signals. These biases can greatly distort our understanding and lead us to form incorrect conclusions about someone's attitudes or emotions. Understanding these pitfalls is crucial to accurately interpreting the silent language of our bodies. Cultivating an objective mindset while observing nonverbal cues requires intentional practice. One technique that has personally helped me is the practice of mindfulness. Taking a moment to breathe and clear my mind before engaging in conversations helps me approach the interaction with a blank slate. I've found that focusing on the moment, rather than my assumptions, allows me to see the body language for what it truly is. Another tip is to seek the context. When I observe someone's body language, I remind myself to consider what's happening around them. Questions like, "What is the situation?" or "What is their relationship with the people around them?" can provide clarity. Keeping a journal of my observations has also been invaluable. Writing down situations where my initial interpretation of body language was incorrect helps me recognize patterns in my biases and refine my observational skills. By constantly working to recognize our own biases and adopting strategies to mitigate their effects, we improve our ability to communicate effectively. Engagement in active reflection on our interpretations of body language can dramatically enhance our understanding of others. A practical tip is to practice observing without judgment. Instead of jumping to conclusions about what someone's crossed arms or eye contact might indicate, observe those cues in a neutral way, gathering more facts before deciding what they mean. This can help you respond more appropriately and authentically, enhancing your connections with others. Conclusion: mastering the silent code. Reflecting on how body language affects all areas of life. Body language permeates every aspect of our existence, often influencing outcomes in ways we may not fully understand. From the boardroom to personal relationships, the subtle cues we emit can either bolster our messages or contradict them entirely. I remember a time when I struggled in my job interviews, despite having the right qualifications. No matter how diligently I prepared, I could feel the tension in my shoulders and the rigidity in my posture. My nervousness betrayed me, overshadowing my skills and experiences. It wasn't until I learned about the importance of body language that I began to unlock the potential of my interactions. I realized that in every conversation, whether it was with colleagues or friends, adopting a confident stance could shift perceptions and create more positive connections. A relaxed posture and engaged gestures can make others feel at ease and encourage open dialogue. This realization opened my eyes to a world where how we present ourselves can significantly dictate how we are received. Personal anecdotes can often highlight the transformative power of mastering body language. I recall a pivotal moment during a presentation in college. I was passionate about my topic, but felt anxious as I faced my peers. Instead of allowing my nerves to take hold, I remembered a coach's advice about projecting confidence. I took a deep breath, squared my shoulders, and made a conscious effort to connect with my audience through eye contact. As the minutes passed, I noticed their engagement increase. The feedback I received was overwhelmingly positive, not just for the content I shared, but for the enthusiasm and assurance I displayed. This experience instilled in me a profound belief in the efficacy of body language. From that day on, I made it a point to embody the characteristics I wanted to project: confidence, openness, and approachability. It has served me in navigating not just professional situations, but personal ones too, enhancing my relationships with friends and family. The beauty of understanding body language is that it can be cultivated and adjusted. Each emanation conveys a message, whether intentional or not. Being mindful of this empowers us to foster better and more authentic connections. Practice can elevate our awareness. Next time you have a conversation, notice how your body aligns with your words. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it, how you move, and how you engage physically with others. Consider approaching discussions with a more open posture, maybe uncrossing your arms or leaning slightly toward the person speaking. These small adjustments can make a significant difference, inviting a more constructive exchange and deepening relationships. The journey to understanding body language is ongoing, and with every interaction, we can fine-tune our expressions and movements, enriching our lives significantly. Encouragement to continue practicing and becoming fluent in nonverbal communication. Every interaction we have is filled with hidden messages conveyed through body language, expressions, and gestures. To become fluent in nonverbal communication, continual practice is vital. It's easy to grasp the basic concepts of how our body language can enhance our messages, but truly mastering these skills takes dedication and constant application in real-life situations. I remember the first time I consciously tried to apply what I had learned about maintaining eye contact and open postures. Initially, it felt awkward, like speaking a foreign language I was still figuring out. However, with every conversation, I found myself more attuned to the subtle cues of others and gained confidence in expressing my own nonverbal signals. Real-life scenarios like social gatherings, meetings, or even casual chats with friends provide the perfect playground to develop these skills. Every nod, smile, or shift in posture gives you a chance to test your understanding and refine your approach. To further enhance your journey into nonverbal communication, there are plenty of resources available that can deepen your knowledge and skills. Books such as The Definitive Book of Body Language by Alan and Barbara Pease offer insights that complement what you practice daily. Additionally, online courses can provide structured learning experiences. Websites like Coursera or platforms like Udemy feature courses that dive into specific aspects of nonverbal communication, complete with videos and practical exercises. Observe others as well. Pay attention to how skilled communicators express themselves without words. You can learn a lot from watching and analyzing their techniques. Don't forget to keep a journal of your experiences, jotting down your observations and reflections so that you can track your growth over time. Every small step you take towards incorporating body language into your interactions matters. Start by consciously practicing one aspect at a time, whether it's mirroring someone's expressions or adjusting your posture when speaking. The more you engage with these nonverbal cues, the more natural they will feel. Keep pushing yourself to step outside of your comfort zone, and you'll soon find that the language of nonverbal communication becomes as fluent to you as your spoken words. Final thoughts on how understanding body language can enhance emotional intelligence. Understanding body language is a vital piece of the puzzle when it comes to emotional intelligence. The expressions and gestures we observe in others often communicate deeper feelings than words can convey. I've learned to pay careful attention to gestures, posture, and facial expressions, unlocking a wealth of information about what someone might truly be experiencing, even if their words say otherwise. This awareness has allowed me to respond more thoughtfully and empathetically in conversations, forging connections that feel more genuine and understanding. To strengthen my emotional intelligence, I continually encourage myself to grow in my ability to understand both myself and others. This means reflecting on my own body language and recognizing how my demeanor can affect those around me. I've discovered that small changes, like maintaining an open posture or making appropriate eye contact, can lead to more meaningful interactions. Cultivating this awareness not only benefits my relationships, but also helps me to create a safe and welcoming atmosphere for others. Whenever I focus on these aspects, I often find that conversations become deeper and connections flourish. A valuable strategy is to practice active observation. By consciously observing the body language of friends, family, and even strangers, I can better understand the emotional context behind their words. This practice not only enhances my comprehension of others, but also invites me to share my emotions more openly, fostering a space where authentic connections can blossom. Remember, everyone has a story to tell. Sometimes it's written in the subtle movements of their bodies. And so, we arrive at the end of our journey through the silent code, decoding body language for mastery in life and relationships. But as you've learned, the power of body language doesn't stop here. It's a lifelong skill, an ongoing practice, and a gateway to deeper understanding of yourself and others. As you move forward, remember, every gesture, every movement, every glance holds meaning. Use this knowledge not just to navigate life with greater ease, but to connect with empathy, to influence with integrity, and to live with authenticity. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the unspoken language that shapes our lives. I hope you carry these insights into every interaction, unlocking doors to richer relationships, clearer communication, and a more confident you. This has been The Silent Code, written and published by Mindful Literary. Until we meet again, may your journey through life be filled with understanding, connection, and mastery of the language that speaks louder than words.